Hello, welcome to week 12 of our cost control course, everyone. Just a few things here that I want to get into before we actually get into the week 12 content and what we're going to be discussing this week. I want to remind everyone, if you are behind in assignments, this doesn't apply to everyone, okay? Let me put that into the forefront. But if you happen to be behind, it is your responsibility to get in contact with me to discuss and make arrangements and to follow through on those arrangements. Okay? Again, I will say this. It is your responsibility if you know that you're behind in this course right now, considering that we are in to the final weeks and you know that you have missing assignments. And if you want to have a discussion with me one-on-one to discuss your grade, it is your responsibility to reach out to me. But then also, okay, follow through the arrangements and whatever the contingency plan may be that we agree to, okay? This is week number 12. After this, we have 3 more weeks, weeks 13, 14, and 15, and we are done with our fall 2022 semester. Okay, so with that being said, all right, let's get into week number 12 here, and we are going to discuss this week revenue predictions. Let me put it this way. A revenue prediction is looking at your overall financial report and status for your restaurant, for your facility. You know how, for example, okay, if you look at the corporate schematics of how a lot of corporations work, okay, they set quarterly goals in terms of what they project to bring in for revenue. And I think many of you probably know this already. There's a first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter report when it comes to total revenue earnings. Well, when you look at it this way, the restaurant manager, okay, takes the responsibility, or should I say the owner, the restaurant manager works with the owner, takes the responsibility of looking at what they may project in terms of revenue earnings. We're talking about the total gross profit that the restaurant will bring in. And it's good not to just do it annually every 12 months, but it's good to break it up into different quarters. So there should be a first quarter report along with a second quarter report, a third quarter report, and a fourth quarter report. And that's all really for the purpose of adequate budgeting. So chapter 12 talks about revenue prediction. Okay, and so you have to break down really your overall overhead cost. All right, you have to look at your employee payroll. You have to look at what you're paying in terms of product distribution. Okay, so your products, your supplies, how much does that cost? I mean, there's a lot more to it than this. Okay, when you break down overhead cost, you have to think about payroll taxes. You have to think about income taxes. Okay, you have to think about licensing for the restaurant. There's a lot of things that you have to factor in. You have to think about leasing. You have to think about mortgage. For example, okay, if you happen to be leasing the facility, all right, and you have to pay rent on it, or it could very well be, okay, that you've actually purchased a building and establishment. Well, that comes with a monthly mortgage that you have to pay on it, and that happens to be part of your overhead monthly cost as well. You also have to look at whether a monthly cost happens to be fixed or does it happen to be variable. So as you know, fixed cost, the amount stays the same month after month. Variable cost, okay, is where the cost will fluctuate. It will change. So for example, for 1 month, the cost may be more, and then for the following month, it may be less. But it is a changed amount monthly that you have to pay towards an amount pertaining to overhead. So it's important to do what? It's important to forecast. And as you can see, as I've written out this lecture here, I've kind of talked about forecasting, how it should be in the medium. Okay, you never want to forecast under what you may make for profit, and then you end up spending more in terms of total overhead, because what happens? That happens to put you in the red, and now you're operating in negative. Okay, if you happen to go high, that's okay. If you report a much higher number, but it's always good to try to maybe hit a medium number, okay, which may be more of an estimate of what you may bring in for the quarter in terms of your profits. And then, of course, what comes along with that as well, too, is really watching your total overhead cost, okay, in terms of what you pay for distribution of product to keep it, okay, in inventory. So, you know, that relates to inventory cost, as well as what I just mentioned earlier, your employee payroll, your income, your payroll taxes, as well as in licenses that you have to pay for to operate as a restaurant establishment. And then you have utilities as well. Like, for example, lights, and you have internet, you have technology, you have water. All those have to factor in. Heating as well, for the colder months where you may need heat within your facility. So begin to look at this as we talk about revenue prediction, and just kind of look at your variables. Also look at what's considered to be qualitative data. Okay, what is quality? When you think about quality, okay, you think about how you're being served, okay, the efficiency of the serving from the waiter, okay, the host and the hostess, okay, were they cordial in terms of greeting you? Okay, what about the expedition of you getting your food that you ordered? Okay, so how was the kitchen service? Also, you got to look at the setting of the restaurant too, the ambiance of it. That's also another thing that you're going to want to factor in when you look at qualitative data as a whole. So, and look at the menu mixes. Okay, that would be the next thing. All right. And there's some things here that I kind of really put in, and I kind of made a comparison with menu mixes. I compared the bigger franchise establishment to the smaller independent franchise. And guess what? The smaller independent franchise may be able to offer, or probably will offer, a lesser menu mix compared to the bigger establishment or franchise. Smaller establishments are more independently owned, while bigger establishments, okay, happen to be franchises. So, and then also, for example, categorizing menus. Okay, what's a more popular item? I kind of give you some terms based out the textbook, okay, on what those items are called. Okay, so for example, a star is a high popular item and highly profitable. A plow horse would be highly popular, but it's low in profitability. Okay, meaning that lesser guests are probably maybe ordering, okay, the dish, whatever it may be. What the cost, at least. The cost is, okay, I take that back when it comes to plow horse. The cost is low, all right, which leads to a lower profitability, but the dish itself happens to be highly popular among guests. The puzzle, okay, would be something that's low in popularity, but it's high in profitability. So, lesser guests are probably ordering the menu item that happens to be a puzzle, but it happens to be higher in profitability because the price is set at a higher bar. And then, of course, you have the dog item, which is low in both popularity and profitability. It's not really popular among guests, and guess what? The price setting is relatively low as well. So think about those terms, okay, when it comes to menu analysis and the different variables, okay, when you are labeling different items within the menu. So with that being said, what's due this week? What do we have to do, class? Your discussion questions will be due Thursday night. All right. And I kind of give you the variables again. Okay. You're going to talk about star, plow horse, dog, and puzzle. Now, this is what I want everyone to do. I want everyone to come up from your perspective. Okay. Come up. Think about some food items that your establishment has served as an employee. Okay. And if you happen to not be an employee, you can take the approach of being a customer, right, with one of your favorite restaurants. I actually want you to come up with one food per category. So give me the example of a star item, a plow horse item, a dog item, and also a puzzle item. Give me some examples with that. Again, you can take the approach as an employee, or you can take the approach as being a customer. And then, of course, the second discussion question, I have created a spreadsheet here, okay, and I want everyone to use table 12.2 on page 186 of the textbook, all right, and I want you to complete this spreadsheet. And I'm just going to open this up right here. It is an Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to open it up. And what you're going to do is you're going to give me the menu mix percentage and the popularity, whether it's high or low. So you're going to definitely need, in order to reference this, you need to look at page 186 and use that as your guide, table 12.2. So this is a textbook required discussion activity that you're going to have to look at in order to fill in this spreadsheet. So what you want to do is, when you reply to this, this is the template right here. You want to fill this in, save this to the hard drive of your computer, and then you just want to reply back and attach the Excel spreadsheet. What I'm looking for is an attachment only. That's what I'm looking for. You don't have to go into an in-depth discussion or paragraph related to this. Just attach this Excel spreadsheet, and that can be your initial response to discussion question number 2. Leading to the final thing to what we have to do for the week, okay? You are going to submit section 3 of your signature assignment. Okay, you all. Now listen carefully to these instructions, okay? You got to look at the attachment, as I have attached the instructions of the signature assignment, okay, to what you're going to submit in week number 12. So due next Saturday night will be section 3 of your final paper. Okay, and so what you're going to do is you're going to look at the attachment, and you are going to look at section, and pardon me, I do apologize, but however, though, once this is made available to you, it will be attached. So let me just go pull this up in the menu here, in the menu options. And this is it right here. This is what it's going to look like. You're going to discuss revenue management, income statements, and other expenses. So what I want everyone to do, I want everyone to organize your income statements, okay, along with revenue management for the restaurant. You're going to discuss other expenses that are not relative to inventory and product control. And I kind of talked about this at the beginning of my discussion here. Technology cost, utility cost, equipment maintenance, and also entertainment costs if you're going to offer that within Quest Cuisine, within your restaurant. Okay, what I'm looking for is that you definitely want to break down and use a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet to break down the expenses. So I want you to write a paragraph, and then I want you to break everything down in an Excel spreadsheet, okay, which it gives your overall expenses and what it would cost monthly. Use your textbooks, chapters 13, 14, and 15 as a guide. And this will be due next Saturday night. Once again, this is section 3 of your final paper. Okay, everyone. That pretty much wraps up what we have to do for week number 12. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You know my contact and availability hours. And I will be talking to you all soon. This is Professor Javier Black signing off. You have a good weekend.